Welcome to Belmont Poetry Night. I'm Monica Korde, your host and the Poet Laureate of Belmont, California. We meet on the third Tuesdays of every month to celebrate the spoken word as makers, listeners, and admirers of poetry. We come with featured guests and an open mic, inviting readers of all ages. After gathering for several years at our favorite physical venue, the Belmont Library, since the pandemic, our thriving poetry circle has transitioned to this virtual space, and I'm grateful this allows me to welcome poets and listeners from across the globe. As always, it is lovely to see you all, and I hope you have been finding some precious moments from your everyday life as the holiday season rolls in, marking the beginning of a season of light, of cheer, and joy, but also marking the close of another year. I'd love to know where you are joining me from. So, as per our poetry night tradition, please share in the chat. And thanks for joining me and zooming in for this final offering of 2023. November 20 marks World Children's Day, recognized by UNICEF each year. My hope and intention in curating this month's poetry night in the theme of For Every Child, para Los Niños, is to hold space through poetry for children around the world while also reminding ourselves of the power of our collective voices in advocating for their welfare and for their rights. World Children's Day should be a joyous moment to recognize the power and potential of our youth. But today, there are so many children whose lives are not safe, whose right to an education is being put at risk, who are in desperate need of food, water, medical aid, you just name it, the primary things to survive. And my thoughts are with all those children, especially those in war-torn nations who have lost their lives and those who are surviving while facing unimaginable trauma. In their honor, let us have a momentary pause in prayer for every child and wish for the well being of each and everyone around this globe. Thank you. Even in such dark times, there is poetry to remind us of hope and light and of the part we can play in shaping a better future for the younger generation. Like this poem, for instance, written by Khalil Gibran, here are some words of advice and thoughts as noted in his celebrated work, The Prophet. The piece is called On Children. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. Thank you. A century ago, living between two worlds and two world wars, the Lebanese-American poet, painter, and philosopher Khalil Gibran offered these poignant words of advice, emphasizing on the importance of nurturing children with love, respect, and freedom, the profound connection between generations, and the importance of understanding and respecting the unique qualities of each individual, including the young. His insights encourage a deeper appreciation for the role of children in shaping the world and the responsibility of adults to guide and support them on their life journeys. Taking these thoughts and the theme of our poetry night further, as my featured poet tonight, I am most delighted and honored to have a powerful voice in poetry, highly acclaimed children's author and the poet laureate of San Mateo County, Jorge Argueta. His work is prolific and encompasses phenomenal achievements. He needs no introduction, but I would like to read his bio. Jorge Argueta, a Pipil Nahua Indian from El Salvador and the Poet Laureate of San Mateo County, is a prize-winning poet and author of more than 20 children's picture books. His bilingual children's books have received numerous awards, and his poetry has appeared in anthologies and textbooks. He won the America's Book Award, among many other awards, for his first collection of poems for children, Una Película en mi almohada, a movie in my pillow. His other award-winning works for children include Somos como las nubes, We Are Like the Clouds, his Mother Earth series made up of 4 installments, Tierra, Tierrita, Earth, Little Earth, Viento, Vientito, Wind, Little Wind, Fuego, Fueguito, Fire, Little Fire, and Agua, Aguita, Water, Little Water. Among other works, his poetry collection, En Carne Propia, Memoria Poetica, Flesh Wounds, a poetic memoir, focuses on his experiences with civil war and living in exile. The California Association for Bilingual Education honored him with its Courage to Act award. In addition, Argueta is the founder of the International Children's Poetry Festival, Manuela, and the Library of Dreams, a nonprofit organization that promotes literacy in rural and metropolitan areas of El Salvador. Jorge divides his time between San Francisco, California, and El Salvador. Bienvenida, Jorge. Thank you for joining us all the way from your home country, El Salvador, tonight. I believe you are 2 hours ahead of us.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Monica, for the invitation and for this beautiful program and for reading the work of that great poet, great humanitarian, Kahil. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And for your words, of course, about the needs in the sadness that surrounded children at times, But I believe that poetry give us hope. Not only give us hope, but also give us the opportunity to continue on, claiming that our children deserve a peaceful world. Thank you.
Absolutely, Jorge. And if you would like to begin reading 1 or 2 poems for us, and we'll go ahead with the question and conversation later.
Sure. I know that you mentioned a movie in my pillow a couple of times, So I have a poem from that particular book here. When we left El Salvador to come to the United States, Papa and I left in a hurry one early morning in December. We left without saying goodbye to relatives, friends, or neighbors. I didn't say goodbye to Neto, my best friend. I didn't say goodbye to Koki, my happy talking parakeet. I didn't say goodbye to Miss Shasha Shesha, my very dear doggy. When we left El Salvador in a bus, I couldn't stop crying because I had left my mama, my little brothers, and my grandma behind. And from the same book, that poem is about a child who's living El Salvador. The following poem in the same book is about the same child having memories of his country mixed with the new the new place, the new country where he's living now. Wonders of the city. I'm gonna read it in Spanish and in English. Las maravillas de la ciudad. Aquí en esta ciudad todo es maravilloso. Aquí los mangos vienen enlatados. En El Salvador crecían en árboles. Aquí las gallinas vienen en bolsas de plástico. Allá se dormían junto a mí. Wonders of the city. Here in the city, there are wonders everywhere. Here mangoes come in cans. In El Salvador, they grow on trees. Here chickens comes in plastic bags. Over there, they slept beside me. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
I love both those poems, Jorge. Thank you so much for reading those. And I did come across other poems from this collection as well, which are just beautiful. And maybe a little later, when I share some pictures, I will share an image of the book that has the poem with along with the illustrations. And I do have some of the books here, so I hope. I mean, these are. Part of the Mother Earth collection. This is Tierrita, and I have Aguita, and all the. I mean, it just comes to life. The book, along with its colorful and vivid illustrations and your words, and Jorge, what you said about children and all the work that you are doing. I was also I love children's poetry and, in general, children's literature. So I also came across Francisco Alarcon's poetry as well. That he wrote for children, and a bilingual and children's poet. He also believed that poetry empowers children because it helps them to reflect on their lives. And I remember reading one of your interviews where you mentioned that we need to have books that reflect our heritage, that our children need to feel proud of who they are. And as someone who has been writing books for children growing up in bicultural communities, when we speak of preserving history, our roots, and passing it down to the generation to come, I'm thinking of your journey into writing. What led you to become a children's poet and author?
Mhm. Well, Monica, I think that I always wanted to tell the story, to begin with, I always wanted to talk about who my grandmother was, for example, who my grandfather was, who my mother was, who my father was, who my friends were, and where do I grow up? How how is it here, How is it to be riding horses? How is it to grow corn and beans and to hear my grandmama speak Nahuatl, and to live near a river that has these magical songs that every single mean it, you know, and it's huge rocks where my grandmama used to say that those are indigenous people that are still there, you know, and if we are very quiet, you can still listen to them, you know. So I know that there's magic on that, you know. I know that there's magic in the words of fire that my grandmama used to tell me, you know. And why not? Why not to say that, you know? Why not to speak about that? Why not to write about that, you know? So I always had that in, in immense feeling of wanting to tell this story, you know, wanting to tell people, hey, you know, my grandmama not only was an Indian, but she was a fine poet in her own ways, you know, in her own humility, you know, because she hardly knew how to read or write, you know, but she did understood the ways of the wind, the ways of the rain, the ways of the river, the ways of the fire, the simple magical ways in which nature turns around her, you know. So I had that wonderful feeling, you know, of wanting to tell the world, where do I come from and where are my people coming from, you know. So I found that venue on children's poetry, you know. I found that writing children's poetry will give me or gave me that opportunity to talk about those issues, you know.
Yeah, that's really inspiring, Jorge. And I think that while doing that, there is so much beauty and innocence that you retain and capture in your stories. And there are other works that I have also read by you, which are simply amazing. Not just poetry, but also the stories that you have written. And I would love our audiences to go and hunt for those books as well if they get a chance. I don't think they are just meant for children or just to be read to children, but they are just amazing books filled with so much knowledge and a wealth of things that Jorge talked about his landscape. So please do have a look at them. I will be sharing links to them as well in the chat later. But Jorge, would love to hear a couple of poems from you before we take another question.
Sure. I wanna I wanna read briefly from Wind, Little Wind, el viento, vientito. These are very uh, dear dear books to me because all my books are close to my heart, my soul, my spirit, you know. But this particular series, the the publishers allowed me to publish some words in Nahuatl, you know. So I think that makes these books really close to my heart, you know. Mi nombre es viento, pero todos me conocen por vientito. My name is wind, but everyone knows me as little wind. I am born everywhere and I go all around Mother Earth. I am wind, little wind, hummingbird, little wind, swift hummingbird, little wind, happy hummingbird, zoom, zoom, zoom. You are here, over there, but now I am not anywhere, not here, nor there anymore. Yo, viento bendito, estoy por todos lados. Zoom, llego. Zoom, me quedo. Zoom, me voy. I am wind, little wind. I am everywhere. Zoom, I come. Zoom, I stay. Zoom, off I go. No puedes verme. No puedes tocarme, pero puedes sentirme. You can't see me, you can't touch me, but you can feel me. I am wind, little wind. Some call me the north wind, draft, breeze, gale. Others call me hurricane, tornado. I like better when they call me wind, little wind. I can be a slow, powerful, swift wind, little wind. Zoom, zoom. I am Quetzalcoatl wind, little wind. I am a river wind, little wind. Thank you. Hello, Monica.
That was amazing. I love the sounds that you also incorporate in your poems, which really talk to the kids and engage them. And I'm sure that it is a lot of fun to share these kind of pieces or perform these pieces if you have children in front of you. But consider us your children today, and we are enjoying them thoroughly as well. Would you like to read another one from one of your Mother Earth series if you have it with you?
Sure. I will read from. I'll read a segment from Water. Water, little water. I'm here in El Salvador, as you know. I'm celebrating the Manjula Children Poetry Festival, and these are fun poems for the children, especially one where they can play with the elements, and this particular poem. Sometimes I put a bucket of water and I throw water at the children, and they really enjoy that the drops of water, especially because I guess somehow some I tell children, when the drops are in the air, to try to catch one, and they catch one, that they will become the rain, the river, the ocean, and they go crazy.
That's beautiful.
Mi nombre es agua, pero todos me conocen por agüita. My name is water, but everyone calls me little water. A mí me gusta que me llamen agüita. I like to be called little water. Nazco en el fondo de nuestra madre tierra, de allá vengo cantando. Soy gotita, I am born deep in our mother earth. From there I come singing, I am a tiny drop. Y de gotita en gotita voy subiendo a la superficie, paso por los poros, me enredo en las raíces, subo por las piedras y viajo por la claridad y la oscuridad. And drop by tiny drop, I climb to the surface, I pass through the pores, get entangled in roots, climb along rocks, travel through light and darkness. De gotita en gotita voy subiendo, y al llegar a la superficie me cuelgo a descansar en las puntas de las hojas, en las telarañas o en los pétalos de las flores. Drop by drop I climb, and when I come to the surface I rest by hanging on the tips of leaves, on spider webs, or on flower petals. I am little water, a sigh of morning dew, little water, a sweet and tender and strong song. Soy agüita, y de gotita en gotita I am little water, and drop by drop I become a river, a lake, an ocean. Drop by drop I climb to the sky. I am all the colors. In the morning, I am one color in the morning and another in the afternoon. And then at night, I am another color. Soy de todos los colores y no tengo color. Soy de todos los sabores y no tengo sabor. Soy de todas las formas y no tengo forma. Soy agua, soy agüita. I am all colors and have
Jorge, oh, there you are. You were frozen for me. Your picture was frozen for me for a while. Uh, could everyone hear Jorge? No, okay. Yeah, I think there was some connection issue at the end of your reading. Jorge, sorry about that. We just missed the last, I think, last words or last stanza that you were reading.
basically I'll say that the little drop goes up to the sky, and when it's up in the sky, she wants to return to Mother Earth, and she returns in the form of a water bird. But
Beautiful.
she's not only happy to come back, the little drop. She's singing, she's water, little water, she's life. That's
That's
basically
amazing.
the
That's a
poem.
beautiful story and a wonderful thought to take home as well. Thank you so much for sharing that piece, Jorge. Uh, Going back to our conversation, I'd like to talk a little bit about all the work that you have been doing. I came across your work and your initiatives, some of the initiatives that you started in El Salvador and those that you also started while in California. But I did come across your Biblioteca de los Sueños, the
Mhm.
Library of Dreams. And I love that you have talked about the idea of building a library in a neighborhood where gangs live so that it gives children and young people the opportunity to learn through books that there is a different and a huge world out there. And for children who are threatened by violence, I think it is a wonderful way to reach them through these books. And one of the things that you did mention was that there are no Superman or Spider Man, but books on indigenous and immigrant issues. So, which is fantastic, but these are quite serious issues of social justice that you are tackling as a children's writer, a teacher, and a literary advocate, promoting literacy through your other initiatives as well. I would like to tell our audience that Jorge also teaches at children's hospitals and at homeless shelters. He has started the Luna's Press bookstore in San Francisco, offering indigenous and multicultural bilingual children's books, or even starting the Manuela Children's International Poetry Festival, being celebrated right now in El Salvador. And I'd love to know more about it. But my question to you is, how have these activities as a literacy advocate and as a teacher informed your work as a poet and writer?
Mm. Well, I try to say it this way, to answer your question. But when I started to come back to El Salvador a few years ago, I always wanted to to bring the joy of children's literature to my country.
I think Jorge has disconnected a little bit once again. We'll just wait a moment to see if he is able to join back.
Okay. I was basically saying that I started to come back to El Salvador after I left. I left in 1980. After a few years in the United States, I start coming back, and I visited a few libraries in schools, and I saw the needs of the need of illustrated children's books for our children, you know. So I went back to the United States, and I talked to a few friends, including Francisco Alarcón, the poet, the great Chicano poet that you mentioned. You know, Francisco and I became really close friends. You know, and he joined me in this Manjula Children's Poetry Festival. You know, and so did Margarita Robleda from Mexico, and other writers from El Salvador, including my good friend and brother Rene Colato Laine, you know, who happens to be here with me now, you know, celebrating this Manjula festival. The idea of the festival at one point, it was to promote reading in rural areas, in the cities, in everywhere in El Salvador where we witnessed the lack of books for our children. You know, we know that through reading, is an amazing what a child can dream. You know, can have an amazing opportunity if a child reads. You know, I know that the one of the most important things that children learn or go to do in school are basic. You know, read and write.
Right.
And those are the most important. But the basics, the basics of our lives. You know, I noticed that when we bring children, when we bring books, for example, we used to bring a whole bunch of books to markets, you know, and a lot of children didn't know how to read, you know, but they knew how to play, you know. And they will make boxes, they will make frames with the books, they will make homes with the books, you know. and sure enough, they will demonstrate that they wanted to have that they were eager to know what those symbols mean. You know, what they knew that they were those symbols that we call words. They mean something. So they want.
As you speak about it, Jorge, let me share the pictures that you shared with me of the festival, and you can talk to us a little bit about it. Let me just do this, and I hope all of you can see the image. Okay, thank you. Yeah, there we have it.
Okay. That's the poetry festival this year. You know, we've been doing this the past 16 years.
Wow, that is amazing.
And what I was trying to say is that when we go to the markets, you know, the children play with books, and they had ways to read in their own way. You know, I was worried about that. Oh, the children don't read, you know, but the children, it's just magical to have them nearby books, you know, because they learn in their own magical ways,
And do you travel, Jorge, in different towns around to share these books with them? I see images here, so you reading to them and just distributing and sharing the books with them.
Yeah, we go to towns, cities, markets, town squares, schools, colleges. For instance, tomorrow we are going to be in a museum. Today we were in a town called Guayua in the northern part of El Salvador. So it's something really, really beautiful and amazing to see. People used to tell us, "Oh, children don't read." That's such a huge lie. Children really love books. And it's just about putting them in their hands. And especially if there are well illustrated books, they will read them. They will explore them. And I just want to go back a little bit to what you mentioned at the beginning of your question, to when you talk about the library of dreams
Yes.
in going into gangs places, or gang activities, or trying to bring books through to create and access to a peaceful, beautiful place for the children. See, I used to dream that through reading, through books, our children will stop joining gangs, or stop being violent, or the truth of the matter is that maybe we can't stop that, because it's such a huge problem.
Yeah.
However, we make a children laugh. We make we might not make children's. We might not make doctors. We might not make engineers. That's the dream, and then we never going to stop dreaming a peaceful world for our children. Or stopping dreaming that our children can be engineers, doctors, architects, lawyers. We're never gonna stop dreaming that for our children. And in fact, that's the reason for what we continue to do this, because we want our children to have a peaceful life and a peaceful and wonderful, meaningful life,
Absolutely.
in with poetry, and with books, and with stories, that will
Absolutely
be stories of success. Today, this festival was dedicated to or this year this festival was dedicated to an amazing Salvadorian woman, Prudencia Ayala. In fact, my good friend and brother, René Colato Laínez, wrote a beautiful book. It's called Prudencia a la Presidencia, and it's about a girl or a lady that dreamed to become the president of El Salvador, in the times where women were not allowed to even vote, but
right.
she had the courage to dream that our children can have dreams of becoming something that the society didn't allow them to dream of at that time. So of course we believe that the gentle, wonderful, amazing power of poetry can do that for our children.
Absolutely, Jorge. Thank you so much for giving us a glimpse into what the festival is about. And there are diverse books that you share with the children throughout the festival. And I see that you partner with different illustrators for all your different books. Going back to your books and just giving our audience a quick glimpse to what all different books that you have. There are so many more, and but I have just put together a few so you can see the book covers. It's quite amazing to see how you do you actually work with the illustrators closely together to understand how they complement your writing, their art, as in.
Yeah, and and the latest books that I've been publishing, I had the opportunity to speak directly with the illustrators, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I had an amazing experience, you know, with Felipe Ugalde, who did the illustrations of my 4 books dedicated to the elements, Mother
Right.
Earth series. When he first got the first book about water, little water, you know,
Mm-hmm.
she make a bubble, a huge bubble with face and mouth, you know, and ears, and it was really cute and beautiful, you know. But it's not what I meant, you know. I meant water, real water, you know, and no fiction, you know,
Right.
but
So it's
as a
it's
source of
important that the illustrators and the artists understand your vision as a writer.
exactly. So you know, we had a but the beauty of it is that we had just one conversation, you know, and he got it, you know. I said, well, you know, Felipe said, you know, if water will have a face, it would be the face of love, the face of happiness, the face of a child, the face of a creator, you know. So that's what I envision in these books, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
we only spoke once, you know, and we never had the opportunity to talk. I mean, we never had the need to talk
Right.
again. He got the whole concept, so it was very
Wow.
beautiful.
That is very cool. And these are just the book covers. But if you go and dive deeper into these books, I just wanted our audience to also take a sneak peek into what goes inside and happens inside the book. So, on the left hand side, the image that you see is from the book Tierrita. And this is how the illustrations look on the page. They are just quite exquisite artworks, along with the Spanish and the English versions of the poem on the same page. And I believe that all of these books also carry the Nahuatl version as well, the native language that you speak, Jorge.
Hmm. Yeah, that was the concept, you know, to in, to include the Nahuatl
Mm,
version of this of these poems, you know. And I was happy. I'm happy that Mr. Canelos, you know, with whom I had the opportunity to to have another another session of Zoom there early today. You know, we spoke about another book of mine with some university students en carne propia,
mhm.
flesh wounds. But he somehow, some way, we had a discussion about this, you know, because he didn't believe in trilingual books, you know.
Mhm.
But somehow, some way, he came back and said, well, you know, we are going to include it, to include the Nahuatl, and I'm happy to that he agreed to do that, because this language is sadly going to have or it's becoming less and less people who speak it. However, there's a lot of attempts to revive the language. And there's schools, and there's little we call them La Cuna Nahuatl, which is the cradle that for Nahuatl,
Right.
where children a very young age they come, and there's no other languages is spoken here but Nahuatl. So it's very beautiful to know that they're trying to revive the language. And
Right.
in fact, I'm happy also let you know that I this year also signed a contract with Groundwood Books about another book
Congratulations.
written in 3 languages. That it's called My First Words in Nahuatl.
I see.
So
Okay, that's excellent.
With the same idea of reviving the language, and not only the language but also the stories of those who speak the language.
And I would love to hear, as a closing poem, Jorge, if you have maybe in the Nahuatl version, it is also the Native American Heritage Month in November. So it would be wonderful if you could share one of the poems in the Nahuatl version as well.
Sure. I'm gonna read a few sentences from Little Water. At chichipiga at nutugay at maya amuchi nekishmati way at chin na hanugustu manechilwia at chin ninesi tiknemiktan nunantal gane niwis ni takuiga ni sea chichipiga ganahku sea chichipiga ni tehku ihpak ni panutek nenelwat ni tehku tet netehtet ni panu gantesu ganyuwa ni tehtu ihpak gan ni musiguigia tik ne istu ne iswat tik ne magat ne tugat ni sea chichipiga chupi tik chupi ni mukwepa takuiga tunantal naha ni achin naha ni tawilquitilla. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. That was beautiful, and I love the sound of the language itself. And I'm so glad that these books are available in trilingual series as well. As a final question to you, in your service as the Poet Laureate of San Mateo County, what are your upcoming projects or events that we can look out for?
This year, I want to go and have poetry in shelters and read to our elders, bring poetry to places where these people, their age, as they call them, I wanna to go back and say thank you to them in the best possible way, So and continue to work with children and try to do another festival as the one we celebrated in Half Moon Bay. We celebrated we call it again. We call them a Manjula Festival too. So I will try to better say, I will do that.
That's
They,
brilliant, Jorge. Well, wish you all the success in all your aims and endeavors that you have planned through your laureateship. And thank you so much again, Maestro Argueta. This has been a truly inspiring evening, and all your works I see are such poetic odes to children, and of course a gift to the community. And the first time I read one of your children's books, it had a breathtaking effect on me, and it has continued to reveal new layers of meaning, musicality, and emotion with every reading ever since. And it is really refreshing to find that in a book of poems for children. So, thank you for writing them and for advocating for the rights of children through your books and your many initiatives. It has truly been a joy listening to you. Gracias por sus palabras, por su poesía. Gracias por todo.
thank you very much. Thank you. Let's continue in our journey, in our dreams, supporting children, young adults, and the world at large, where poetry is
Absolutely.
needed
Before
to.
you go, Jorge, I would love to open the floor briefly to invite comments from our audience before we close the segment. And I will post some links in the chat.
Thank you.
Please feel free to unmute yourselves to have a word or say something to Jorge.
Jorge, I just wanted to say I can't say enough of how impressed I am with the work that you do, and what you read tonight. And I'm especially taken with what Monica mentioned early on when she was introducing you. Your work might be intended for children, but it's clearly can be enjoyed and appreciated by adults too, and that's a marvelous talent to have. And I just want to thank you for what you do.
I'd like to say thank you also. Thank you very much.
Do I see anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you as well. This is very interesting. I wish I'd sort of known about this. In 2012, my wife and I went to Kenya, and we have the women we call our Kenyan sisters, people who lived here when they were teenagers going to college. And both of them are associated with schools in truly slum areas. And in the first one, it was so fascinating to see they had no visual aids. So the women who were teaching the school had gotten feed sacks, and they'd sewn the alphabets into them, embroidered the alphabets into them. And to take this beyond that into poetry, and I think the whole idea of a trilingual, because that's when we learn language the best, is when we're young and when you can see it side by side and know it's supposed to say the same thing, and you can make that correlation. I think that's very important. I'm very impressed. I liked your poetry, and I hope your efforts continue and succeed in great measure.
Muchas gracias, Jorge. This is Julie. This is my first time here, and how impressive and how just beautiful and wonderful it is to be welcomed by you and your poetry and your visions and your love for the children and for your communities in El Salvador and here also in California. So muchas gracias.
I want to thank Korde for the beautiful poems and the inspiration that will lead me to write more for children. I thank you for that. I'm also planning to purchase some of your books for my grandchild.
Yeah, I wanted to just
then. Please go ahead, David.
Oh, just the artwork is stunning as well, and I like to consider language as a body of work, and that's why I so enjoy the multilingual work efforts.
Well, thank you everyone for
Thank you,
sharing
Jorge.
your thoughts. Madeline, do you want to say something?
Are you talking to me?
No, I thought Madeline had unmuted Perry. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Jorge, I just wanted to thank you for bringing all this to our the meeting today. I didn't know, unfortunately, about your books. Now I do. I am so excited about going and checking them out, and your dreams for the future for children are just so hopeful. So thank you.
I just wanted to chime in and echo everything everybody is saying. And I also wanted to add, I loved the power with which you read. You read with your whole body and your whole heart. I mean, if I were a child and listening to you, I would just be blown away, and I would want to read your poetry the rest of my life. I mean, and your poems are, of course, exquisite. So thank you. And Monica, thank you for inviting me.
A pleasure to hear all those beautiful words of praise and love. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts and your appreciation. And Jorge, once again, I'm grateful for your time and for everything you shared tonight. It was truly an honor and a great pleasure to have you as my featured artist. And I believe you won't be able to stay for us for very long during the open mic section, as it is getting late for you in El Salvador. So let me wish you a peaceful and more power to all your work as you wrap up 2023. And I hope to see you back in the Bay Area very soon next year. You are on mute, Jorge.
Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to be part of your program. You know, I really appreciate it. And to all the friends who are listening, you know, I really appreciate it too. You know, my dream is your dream, and my world is your world. And so, long live poetry. You know, thank you.
Absolutely. And before I wrap up this segment, I would like to let our audience know that December will be a holiday break as usual. So the next poetry night that I shall bring to you will be in January of 2024 with another wonderful feature. On that note, I'd like to express my gratitude to all my featured poets for their contribution to our poetry nights through this year, and especially all the open mic readers and this beautiful community of writers and listeners that keeps me inspired to do my work as a poet laureate. So thank you so much for gathering each month in celebration of poetry, its makers, and in support of each other. This is what really infuses me with new energy and brings me deep joy, and I'm truly grateful. With that, we are going to stop recording this segment. Those of you who are in the Zoom room, please stay online for the open mic segment of the evening. To the YouTube audience, thanks for joining in, and hope to see you in January for a New Year's reading at our virtual Belmont Poetry Night. Have a safe and beautiful holiday season. Good night.